Now, the purpose of this course, as some of them know who have attended Bala's class before, is to unravel the scientific thought or scientific concept or the theoretical understanding from starting from a practical aspect. The practical aspect can be a daily happening or daily observation or something which you use every day, like a fridge or air conditioner or a microwave oven, or something like a phenomenon you see on a daily basis. So this is to see how to relate that to what you study in school or college in curriculum, or are these two different subjects? Okay, so no is what Bala tries to prove. And he's an engineer by education. Then he went on to do his master's in science because of pure passion. Now he works in BEML, Bharat Ratnavis Limited. Yeah. Welcome all students, adults, science enthusiasts to this course. Welcome, Bala. Over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. So today we are going to discuss about how radio-controlled toy car works. So because that one everyone would have witnessed or used in their daily uses. So how radio-controlled toy car work? So RC. So what is RC? As I already said, that is the radio control. So why it is radio controlled? So what is that name radio? So radio is the radio waves behind that radio control. So radio waves we are using to wirelessly communicate between the devices. So why radio waves we have chosen? So we know what is, behind RC, that is radio, that name is there. From that name, that radio waves is hiding there. So radio waves is nothing but the part of electromagnetic spectrum. So why we are using the radio waves for wireless communication extensively? Why can't any other waves? Why particularly radio waves we are using? Anybody? So I assume everyone knows what is electromagnetic spectrum from radio waves to gamma rays. I assume that. So given that as the assumption, so I am asking you, why can't we use any other waves for communication? Why only radio waves?
I think it has less frequency.
Okay, so that means the higher wavelength, low frequency. Why we want to use low frequency for communication? Why can't we go for a higher frequency?
It can't go more distance.
So higher frequency waves can't go more distance.
No. High. Yes. Higher.
Yeah. Okay. So for longer distance, we need radio. That is okay. One of the answer, one of the right answers. So any other thing apart from that, longer distance communication? Apart from that, any other thing? Why we are going for low frequency waves?
It can travel through any medium without any issues.
So if higher wavelength can travel through any medium, then if you go in the electromagnetic spectrum, X-rays also can pass through anything, right? It is having very short spectrum.
X-rays are not as safe as microwaves. Microwave radio waves.
So that point on I want from you guys, like ionization. Okay, other waves will ionize the atmosphere or the tissues wherever it interacts. No, ionization may happen; it might cause the damage. But these radio waves are non-ionizing waves. In the electromagnetic spectrum, if you classify, there are non-ionizing electromagnetic waves and ionizing electromagnetic waves are there. So visible light also falls under non-ionizing only, but after visible light, if you go ultraviolet, that starts to interact with our tissues. So below that, everything will be non-ionizing only. So radio waves, it got two that you said first. It was said like longer distance. Second one, it is safe, non-ionizing properties, radio waves. So we are going for radio waves. So that is part of electromagnetic spectrum. I assume that everyone aware of it. So just for the sake of completeness, I want to give you the spectrum of the electromagnetic waves. So here is the range and its applications, and everyone is aware of it, I assume. So from broadcast radio and television radio waves, then cooking, radar, telephone, other signals, microwaves, and infrared. Infrared also will be used for remote central IR rays. And apart from that, for vision, that glasses, then it will go for visible light. Everyone is aware of the visible light, then ultraviolet, then X-rays, gamma rays. So this is the range of electromagnetic spectrum. Now, what is electromagnetic waves? How it is produced? Anybody? Why in nature electromagnetic waves exist? Let us forget about how we are going to produce artificially, but in nature it exists, right? It's crossing us now. In this space, it is crossing you and me. Everywhere it is crossing these electromagnetic waves. And why it is existing? What is the source behind that? Anyone?
Whenever an electric charge moves, there's an electromagnetic wave created.
What was that? Someone is saying whenever the charge was moving?
Yeah, so whenever the charges oscillate, an electromagnetic wave is created.
So oscillation means, what do you mean by oscillation?
It's to and fro motion, so like a vibration.
Vibrations, okay, oscillations. But what is exactly? So if I to and fro, okay, that is the outlook, but exactly what is happening? So I can produce electromagnetic waves without bringing the charges like to and fro. Just by moving the charges forward also, I can produce electromagnetic waves. So there your definition, like, it becomes invalid. To and fro is not working out. Just by moving the charges forward direction, also I can produce electromagnetic waves. So what is missing? So the valid definition for the production of electromagnetic waves or generation of electromagnetic waves, it's not the oscillation of charges. What is that? Anyone? Guys?
Generation of electromagnetic.
Yeah, that is generation, but someone said because of oscillation, to and fro motion or vibration, okay, fine. Electromagnetic waves are produced. That is on outset, if you look, it looks like that. But if you keep the charge moving in the forward direction also, without like to and fro motion also, without vibration also, I can or anyone can produce electromagnetic waves. So it is not oscillation. Then what is the phenomenon behind it? It is acceleration. The accelerated charges produces electromagnetic waves. The accelerated charges creates disturbance in the electric and magnetic field that causes the electromagnetic waves. These fields we can't see, but it is existing. When the charge is there, it's surrounded by the electric field. When the charge is moving, it produces a current. We know current is nothing but the flow of electrons. When the charge is moving, the current is produced. And whenever there is a current, it's surrounded by the magnetic field, Ampere's law, because Ampere is saying, Ampere circuit law is saying, whenever there is a current in the wire, it's surrounded by the electromagnetic field. So whenever charge is moving, it creates disturbance in both electric and magnetic field only provided if it is getting accelerated, not if moves in constant velocity. When the charge moves in constant velocity, we are not going to have electromagnetic waves. When the charge is accelerating, it's going to create disturbance in both electric and magnetic field. So that disturbance propagates. That propagates linearly, rectilinearly. But if you go to relativistic electromagnetism, it is different. Okay, whether it's a rectilinear propagation or that and all, we will see. So first level, it propagates rectilinearly, like linear propagation. And what happens once the electric and magnetic field, it creates a disturbance like ripples. Like each will act like a tiny hand to other and pull each other. Like magnetic field will pull electric field and the electric will pull magnetic field, like that. You keep on pull each other and it's propagate. But we cannot say continuously propagate it. It's obviously going to get diminished, or that is the second law of thermodynamics, right? Nothing can continuously goes on. Everything will be converted to heat. So these electromagnetic waves are finally converted to heat radiations only. So it propagates some far distance, But how it goes? By helping each other. The disturbance in the electric and magnetic field, like alternatingly, like pulling each other, like it's giving hand to each other and lifting up. And the magnetic field lift the electric field up, and the electric field lift the magnetic field up. Like it keep on propagates and goes, travels further. So that's how electromagnetic waves are produced. Accelerated charges produces electromagnetic waves. So only if you would have read in Thomson model or Niels Bohr model, you would have made the assumption the electrons revolving around the nucleus, there is no acceleration. Even though the electron is making a circular motion around the nucleus, there is no circular acceleration or centripetal acceleration around the, for the electron towards the nucleus. If there is any acceleration for the electron, it's going to radiate these electromagnetic waves, and finally it spiral down to the nucleus, and no atom exists, and you and me won't exist. This universe won't exist. Okay, there will not be any stable atoms. So for that, what assumption is making Niels Bohr? The electrons are revolving around the nucleus in stationary orbits. That means there is no acceleration of it. That is the assumption he's making. Those orbits are stationary orbits. When the electrons are moving around the nucleus in such orbit, there is no acceleration of the electrons. But you know, circular motion means definitely acceleration will be there, right? Centripetal acceleration, at least. Okay, not the tangential acceleration. Centripetal acceleration will be there because it's continuously pulled down, pulled towards the center of the nucleus. So that is the assumption he is making, so that he can avoid this problem that accelerated charges produce electromagnetic waves. So that is one more area you can think of it. Okay. So now our purpose of this toy remote car is what? We want to wirelessly give the instruction to the toy car that go forward, come backward, take left, take right. But we want to do this wirelessly. So what we have, first we got this radio waves, we chosen the radio waves. From the electromagnetic spectrum, we wisely chosen the radio waves as our communicating medium between the our instruction to the toy car. Instruction, like whatever the instruction we are giving to the toy car, that is the medium we have chosen. So what we want to do now we want to produce the radio waves. So as we have seen already, the accelerated charges produces electromagnetic waves. So what we want to do now, we have to make the charges dance. So that's how we are going to produce the electromagnetic waves. That is radio waves. So if you chose the component of our circuit, you can change the frequency of the radio frequency, that we will see how we are going to make the charges dance. So this is a simple LC circuit. So I have used a DC voltage source connected with the inductor of 1 Henry and a capacitor of 1 Farad. So L is inductance and C is capacitance. Okay. So everyone, I assume +1, +2 guys will be aware of this inductors and capacitor and what is its role. So okay, while learning this, we will simultaneously touch that also. What is the principle of working of inductor and capacitor also? So from that we can understand. So here I am connected this inductor and capacitor through this DC supply, but I want to make the charges to dance. Anybody is getting any type of confusion here? How it is possible? Because it's a steady, it's a constant supply, constant voltage. It will give the constant current. And how we are going to make the charges dance? Current is nothing but the movement of charges, but I want to make the charges to dance. That means accelerate. So as you have seen already, oscillation only, acceleration. Okay, but all the acceleration is not oscillation, but as all the oscillations are acceleration. So only we should be very clear with the definition of electromagnetic waves. Accelerated charges produce electromagnetic waves, but here we are going to achieve by oscillation of charges, because oscillation of charges also acceleration of charges. So how we are going to make the charges to oscillate here? By using the DC supply. So that is the first challenge we are having here. Anybody? How the DC supply can produce an oscillating charges here? DC supply only drive the current, right, across the load. Across it drives the current. That's it. Until unless this capacitor is charged up, the current will flow and stops. Right? There is no oscillation. Current flows in one direction, stops. This is a 10 volt will become here also, it will become 10 volt and stops because the voltage, both voltage become equal as per Kirchhoff's voltage law. The difference will become zero, no flow of electrons, no flow of current. That's it. It's gonna be like this. Or any other wisdom you got here, guys? You just gonna charge up the capacitor by considering this inductor as just a straight wire, or the inductor gonna play some role here? Anybody? Guys, I want you guys to think. Hello? We are not even crossed halfway. Guys, we are in the production of electromagnetic waves. Still, we have not passed our information. Hello?
Yes, sir.
I want you guys to answer this DC voltage supply. It's gonna produce a direct current and charge up the capacitor. What is the role of the inductor here? It's gonna act like a dummy straight wire. What is this tiny winds gonna do for the current? Something it should do, right? Anybody? Any answer from just from common sense? If it drives the current through the inductor, what's gonna happen? Hello?
It stores energy as a magnetic field.
Yeah. How? What is the principle behind that? See, photograph. Forgive me for this. This is the current. So when the time is increasing, the current will not shoot up straight away, okay, for the maximum current. It will gradually, it will progress. Okay. It will progress gradually. Why? Because the inductor, the role of the inductor is always, it will oppose the change. Whenever there is an inductor, you remember, it will oppose the change. It will never allow for any change rapidly or abruptly. If you want to reduce the current, it will always be there to block that. If you want to increase the current, always there to block that. So when time t equal to 0, the current was 0. Now we are the time when time is, when time is like ticking out, the current wants to increase. The voltage wants to drive the current through the circuit, but it will always resist that. So only the current will slowly increase. It will not increase straight away from here, like here to here, it will not increase. So slowly it will increase over the time, the current. So when the current is increasing, what will happen? The magnetic field, because it's a coil, right? When the current is increasing, the magnetic field associated with this, that flux linkage you can call, that's going to increase. Magnetic field strength going to increase. So when the magnetic field is increasing, so we can call for our Faraday's electromagnetic induction. There is a change in the magnetic flux linked with the coil. What will happen? Guys, whenever there is a change in the magnetic flux linked with the coil, what's gonna happen? This is Faraday's law, right? You should know. Magnetic flux linked with the coil, when it is changing, that is increasing or decreasing, what's going to happen to the coil?
It will also increase accordingly. It's directly proportional.
Which one going to increase?
EMF.
No, which direction it will be? Okay, EMF will increase. Which direction it's going to be? That EMF, electromotive force, induced in this coil. Which direction it will be?
It will oppose the flow.
Yeah. Why? That is Lenz's law, right?
Yeah, Lenz's law states that.
yeah, whenever there is a cause which produces this current or by EMF, that EMF will oppose the cause. So what is the cause here? The increase in current. So the EMF will EMF will, the electromotive force will act such a way to oppose the increase in current. So what will happen? It is opposing the increase in current. So there is a resistance towards the current flow that we call as inductive reactance. The resistance offered by the inductor is called the inductive reactance. So it will be denoted by the notation XL. So because of this resistance, there will be a slow increase in current. Okay, but it's going to overcome that. It's not going to stop it, but it's going to overcome that. But why there is a some drag? Why there is some drag in the increase in current flow? Because of the inductive reactance. Okay, so it's going to increase slowly because of the inductive reactance. The current reaches the maximum value. So the charge is going to build up here because when the current is flowing, the capacitor is going to accumulate the charges. So how long the current will flow? As long as this voltage across the capacitor is equal to the supply voltage. So I'll draw one more line here. So this I'll call as capacitor voltage is UC. So when the current is increasing, the voltage across the capacitor also increases. So when it reaches the battery voltage, the current stops, right? As per Kirchhoff voltage law, the current should stop. There will be no further flow of current through the circuit, right? Everyone is agreeing with that, guys? All are agreeing with that. When the
Yes.
current drives, yeah, when the capacitor gets the voltage equals to the DC voltage, further there will not be no current flow as per Kirchhoff's voltage law. So voltage is increased to 10 volt. So current is maximum reached, I max. Then what will happen to the current again? There is no current in the circuit, but what will happen to the inductor now? The inductor is fully stored with the magnetic field. It starts to collapse because there is no further increase in current. The current stops. Current reaches the saturation point, maximum. So there is no further flow of current. What will happen to the magnetic field? It starts to collapse. Whatever stored in the inductor starts to collapse. So when it is collapsed, it will not collapse abruptly because when the magnetic field is like collapsing, there is a decrease in magnetic field. What will happen as per again Faraday's electromagnetic induction? There will be electromotive force. So now this electromotive force will oppose the change. What change? The decrease in magnetic field. So which direction it will be? It will be in this direction. The induced electromotive force, that is because of the decrease in the electromagnetic field, as per Faraday's law, there will be a induction of electromotive force in the inductor, but the direction of the electromotive force will be opposing the decrease in magnetic field. So it will be in this direction. So again, the current will flow toward this direction and tries to charge up the capacitor. So capacitor will further charge it. So capacitor voltage will increase, but the current, as long as this magnetic field is keep on collapsing, the current will be positive only, but it will be decreasing. Okay. Decrease and reaches 0. So at that point, the voltage will become 20 volt. So now you can see the supply voltage is 10 volt. But what we got here, 20 volt we got, double times of the supply voltage. Because of what? Whatever energy stored as a magnetic field in the inductor, it's again given to the capacitor as an electric field. So its voltage got doubled up. So it become 20 volt. So the current has become 0. Now again, what will happen? Now there is no magnetic field in the inductor, and this is 20 volt, this is 10 volt. There is a difference in voltage of 10 volt. And again, as per Kirchhoff voltage, the current will flow. So current will start to flow in this direction because this is positive, this is negative. Now the capacitor will act as a battery. The current starts to flow in this direction. So again, the cycle continues. So now you can see there is an oscillation. There is an oscillation in the LC circuit. Right? Everyone is agreeing with this. Guys? Hello? Can you understand this cycle? Even though I connected the DC voltage supply to the inductor and capacitor, I can able to produce the oscillation because of this inductor and capacitor. So that is the greatest thing behind this. Okay, you should understand the concept. Why there is an oscillation in the circuit, even though I connected with the DC voltage. Everyone is agreeing with this? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. Makes sense.
Yes. Okay, so this is what the clear depiction of the graph. This I got from the circuit lab. So you can, circuit lab is like, okay, that is the paid only that you have to take the membership. So there, if you construct the circuit and this node, if you measure, so it will give you the voltage and the current. You can see, and the current is reaching the maximum, the voltage reaches the maximum of the battery voltage. Again, the current drops, but the voltage of the capacitor keep on increases. Double times 2E, double times the battery voltage. And again, the battery, the capacitor starts discharging. The current will be in reverse direction because it starts to flow in this direction. The current in reverse direction. So the cycle keep on continuing. So I can able to produce the oscillation here, right? So the oscillation has been produced just by using a DC or DC battery and an inductor and a capacitor. By choosing this inductance value and capacitance value, that is Henry and Farad, I can control the frequency of this oscillation. So first I produce the oscillation, then I can control the frequency of the oscillation by carefully selecting the value of that inductance and capacitance, how much Henry and how much Farad. So I can control the frequency of the oscillation. So I need a radio wave. So radio wave means obviously 30 megahertz to 300 megahertz, right? Up to that I can go, or up to 400 also I can go, 400, 500 megahertz I can go. So up to that I can make a radio waves. So I have to choose carefully the inductor and capacitor to produce the radio waves. Okay, fine. Now I successfully produce the radio waves using the LC circuit, and everyone is agreeing with that. So I will transfer the radio waves. Then I'm going to receive the radio waves same way LC circuit I'll use to receive the radio waves. And what is the use of it? Just I'll send the radio waves, transmit, and I'll receive it. So it's like giving a signal, just one information. Something is coming, it received. For example, again I'll draw this LC circuit. See, this is battery. Okay, this is capacitor. Sorry, here I want to draw a switch. So this is inductor, this is capacitor. And from this, I can take the antenna out because I measured there, no, there is the voltage and oscillating voltage, oscillating current is coming from this point. So I can connect with this antenna. So it's gonna produce a disturbance in the electric and magnetic field. So it's gonna creates the ripples in the electric and magnetic field that will be communicated. Okay, far away distance like 10 meters if you are using a toy remote car, or 1 kilometer if you are using 400 megahertz, or if your mobile phone means 72 kilometers to the tower, cell tower. So like that. So according to the frequency range, the distance will increase. Okay. So here we are using 20, whatever megahertz is that, we have produced electromagnetic waves. Now the circuit is open. Just I close the switch. It's going to produce electromagnetic waves here, radio waves, and I'm going to receive it somewhere using the antenna. Same LC circuit. This is called tank circuit, they will call. This is the ground. Okay, this is the antenna. It's going to receive the electromagnetic waves. And as per Faraday's magnetic induction, there is a disturbance in electric and magnetic field. So whenever there is a change in the magnetic field, it's going to induce a current in the coil. So inductor will pick up that and it starts to charge the capacitor and it's going to oscillate. And again, capacitor discharge, again, it's going to oscillate. Okay, it's going to capture that oscillation, but that will be somewhat weaker. Again, we have to amplify. Okay, those things we'll see. So I just made close the switch. I transfer the electromagnets from here to there. It received, and I'm gonna amplify it. I'm gonna use it to communicate only one data. That I close the switch, one signal has come, it received the signal. That's it. Apart from that, I can't do anything with that, right? So in case of a toy car, if I'm using only these circuits, it's going to only send the radio waves from this transmitter, and it's going to receive it in a receiver. And this receiver will give a communication to the motor, whatever he can communicate, and the motor will run. It just go forward. I can't stop it. I can't reverse it. I can't do anything with that. Right? Are you guys agreeing with it? Hello? This is somewhat insufficient. Okay. Communicating radio waves only our medium of communication. We can't communicate without electromagnetic waves, because that's the property electromagnetic waves possess, because it's a disturbance in electric and magnetic field. It's going to help each other and propagate towards some larger distance. So that property we're going to exploit. So there is no alternative for electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic is only we have to use, but only with the electromagnetic waves we can't communicate all the information, right? So we need to add the information to the circuit. So for that only, this is not sufficient. Whatever circuit is LC circuit is not sufficient. It's only produce electromagnetic waves, but I want to add information to it. So how I'm going to do that? Adding information to this. Okay. Before that, let me elaborately draw this LC circuit, because whatever you are going to encounter in daily life, it's not like simple LC circuit. This is for your understanding. I did this, but actually what will be there? Let me show you. As usual, inductor will be there, and capacitor. There will be a voltage supply. And from here, I'm going to tap the oscillating voltage or current, whatever it is, and I'm going to feed this to a crystal oscillator. So now we are going to hear a new name. This is called the piezoelectric crystal. So anybody hear the name piezoelectric crystal, guys? Anyone aware of it? Huh?
No, sir.
No. So piezoelectric crystal. So piezo means, in Latin, I guess it's pressure. Whenever there is some crystal, this is like another quartz crystal, okay, or Rothschild salt, they will call. Initially, they done the experiment with this salt. So these are all crystalline structures, okay. If you read solid state physics, you will understand this crystalline structure and these properties. So these crystals have been cut in such a way, such a shape. So whenever there is a strain, that is pressure in the crystal, it produces the electrical charges. So that is the beauty, right? If you apply the mechanical pressure, perpendicularly it will produce the electrical charges, plus and minus. So if it is a crystal, I pull it this direction, it will create charges here. And instead of pulling, if I push it, I compress it, the charges will reverse. So this is the beautiful property, right, of this crystal. So these crystals have been already discovered and extensively have been studied, or research have been done, and so many works have been done here. So these are called piezoelectric crystals, very cheaply available in the market. So we are using this crystal, and whatever the oscillation we have produced, we are going to give that alternating voltages to this crystal. So there will be alternating voltages, and we are going to exploit the inverse piezoelectric phenomenon. That is, because of the oscillating charges, the crystal is gonna compress and expand. Okay, the crystal gonna compress and expand because of the inverse piezoelectric phenomenon. So I'm going to give the oscillating voltage to the crystal. It's going to compress and expand. So when it is compressing and expanding, so here it's a ground. When it is compressing and expanding, again it will produce charges. Understood? Can you guys get that? What I'm doing here? You take a spring and connect a load. Just pull the load. The spring starts to oscillate, right? It's going to oscillate. Only are giving initially that excitation. It's going to oscillate. So same way, when I'm giving the oscillation here, the crystal starts to oscillate, and this oscillation will produce charges again. Plus and opposite charge is going to produce on the surfaces. That time I'm going to tap it. Tap via this connector plates. So whatever the oscillation has come from this point has been fed into the crystal, piezoelectric crystal, and the crystal is vibrating, resonating, And this from the mechanical resonation, I'm again producing the electrical resonation, and that I'm tapping here. Why this? Instead of the directly I can tap. Now, why I want to use this crystal means it's going to give me precise oscillation, precise frequency. Okay, so only we're using this. But you can't find this crystal in your toy car because they won't use that. They will use some cheap ceramic crystal or something, or only with the inductor only they're going to produce oscillation. But for the sake of completeness, I'm introducing this concept to you. So crystal is must in order to have a precise frequency oscillation. So we are getting this oscillation from this crystal, and I'm going to feed this to a transistor. There is a 2 transistor I'm using here. I'll tell you why, what is the purpose. Resistor. And this is ground. This is also ground. So this transistor is not hanging up here. It's connected with this voltage supply. So we have to bias this. So we need some resistor directly. It will not be connected. Some resistor will be there. Okay, you can imagine. And here also some resistor will be there. Okay, just overall picture you take it. LC circuit, crystal, and the 2 transistor. And this one extra pin is there. I'll tell you what is, and ground is there. So battery means plus minus you will get. But what is this extra pin? 3rd pin, I'll tell you. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the information. So as I said previously, this is incomplete. It's going to produce only electromagnetic waves, but I want this to carry the information what I am sending. So I need this one more pin. It's called data pin. So with this pin, I'm going to send the data to this oscillation. So as per my data, the oscillation will be modulated. Okay, that's what we're going to do here. So my data will be like 1s and 0s, digital data, 1s and 0s. It will be like square wave you can keep. Okay, something like this data is going. So this is the NPN transistor. So whenever there is a positive input, it's going to conduct. This transistor is going to conduct. So this circuit will be closed. Whenever there is a positive input, the circuit will be closed. So the oscillation happens. Correct? Switch is closed. The switch closing only I'm doing here with this extra data input. Whenever there is a positive input, this transistor will start to conduct and this current flows to the ground. There will be oscillation. The oscillation will fed to this crystal. Crystal also start to oscillate. It will produce again electrical resonance, electrical oscillation. That again fed to this transistor. And from that, I'll take the output. This will be given to the antenna. So I am doing this. So as per my data, the oscillation is modified. So my data is so and so, and it is switching the transistor accordingly. So my oscillation also changes like this. Can you get this? I drew somewhat very vaguely, but can you understand this? What's happening to my electromagnetic waves based on the data? It has been modified. So whenever there is a positive input, I am getting an oscillation. Whenever there is no input, 0, there is no oscillation. Again, when there is a 1, that is positive input here to the data, it's conducting. So my oscillation is modified based on my data. Hello? This is very crucial to understand. Guys, are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Shall I proceed? Or any doubt here?
Isn't this the basic frequency modulation, like whatever happened now?
This is the amplitude. Okay, this is called amplitude shift key. This is not frequency modulation. Based on this amplitude, no, whatever this amplitude is there, these amplitudes have been modulated. So, like 1s and 0s. My electromagnetic waves will be same frequency only. Whatever frequency I set, like 30 megahertz or 433 megahertz, whatever, that is definite frequency only. But that has been restricted only for this range, this time. And again, but if you measure the frequency, that will be whatever frequency set for the circuit. For example, 433 megahertz means that will be the same megahertz only. But what I'm doing, I'm just modulating this oscillations based on my input data, so that my data has been superimposed here. If you can see this overall, that envelope, my data is hiding here. Correct? My data is hiding over the envelope. Correct? Am I right? Guys?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yes, my data is hiding in the electromagnetic oscillation because I got no other way. I can't communicate the data, even though my data also oscillating, but this data will never be communicated directly. I need this high frequency oscillation, that is electromagnetic wave disturbance. From that only I can communicate. So I have to imitate my data in this way. So my oscillation has been modulated in such a way as per this data. So this circuit I just drew vaguely. I don't want to further confuse you. You can get it from your books or textbooks anywhere. So many literatures are there. But this is the overall principle. LC circuit and the piezoelectric crystal and transistor for switching. Transistor always act like a switching device. Okay, based on the biasing. So the base, if you give this data, since the NPN transistor, whenever positive input is coming, it's gonna conduct. The gate will close, it's gonna conduct. So whenever it's conducting, the oscillation happens because it's like the switch is closing. Okay, fine. So where I'm getting the data, so that is the second thing. So like in your toy remote car, you're gonna press this forward or backward, left or right. Okay, so those data's inputs, I want to give it to here. Okay, here I want to give it as ones and zeros, information, inputs. But how it is possible? Like forward, backward, left, right, those data I have to feed here. Then only I can communicate. So for that you need an encoder. Okay, so I'm doing everything for the sake of completeness. But this and all you may not find in a cheap toy car. The cheap toy car will have only 2 channels, forward or backward. That they're going to do without crystal, without encoder. But you are going for sophisticated remote radio controlled cars, there will be encode because so many functions will be there, like left, right, forward, backward, and so many things will be there, like a door is opening, closing. So if you want to go for a lot of functions, you need an encoder because it's sophisticated. You can control this with this encoder. So what this encoder does, you can note down this also. It's very beautiful, this encoder. Here it is 12. They are calling this as 12 data bit. Why means you can count here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 it starts with A. There is a reason behind this. It is called address pins. So 8 address pins and 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 ADA means data. 4 data pins. So 8 plus 4, 12 data bits. That means 2 power 12 because ones and zeros, no. So in this combination, you can get this wide variety of combination here. But we're gonna use only these 4 data pins and these address pins A0 to A7. This will be used for secure communication. You would have read this in your WhatsApp also. Sometimes when you open it, will be there. This is encrypted. This communication encrypted or secure. What does it mean? Means from the transmitter and receiver, there will be encryption. So I can make the arrangement in such a way. Same way in my decoder also. Whatever scheme I am doing for this encoder, the same scheme if I apply for my decoder, the both will be paired. So there will not be any other interference between other receiver. So whatever I set for this encoder, this address pins, the same scheme if I adopt for my decoder, only these two can be paired. So then they can communicate securely, safely. No other interference will be there. For this purpose, we are having this address, 8 address pins and 4 data pins. And this is transmission enable pin. So if this is like low active, whenever there is negative input, it's gonna operate. It's like switch you can call. This should be negatively grounded, then only it will operate. Then is the internal oscillator circuits are there that should be connected via resistor. Okay. Then we'll give the data output. This is the voltage plus voltage. We are gonna give some 9 volt, and this is the ground. So if you connect the, I take the 9-volt battery, connect the positive terminal and negative terminal here, and this all this A to A7, A0 to A7, all these 8 address pin also you can ground it. It's your wish. Or you can make one as A4 as high and A2 as ground, A0, like this, whatever scheme you can adapt combination, but you have to remember the same combination should be adapted in the decoder also. Then only it will communicate. So for simplicity purpose, I'm gonna assume all these address pins are grounded. Okay. So like this only our configuration is there for this encoder. But what I'm gonna do with this data only, my inputs, my algorithm, my remote is there, no? Forward, backward, left, right. Those inputs will be given to these data pins. So I'm going to use it as a push button here instead of a toggle switch or whatever switch you have encoded in your tiger. For simplicity purpose, I'm going to use as a push button. And this is 9-volt. This is grounded. And all these address pins are grounded. And this oscillator circuit is connected internally with this resistance, because internal oscillation circuits are there. This IC, no, so many internal things will be there, but we are worried about the pin configuration. What's going to give it to us? What's going to take from us? What's going to give to us? That only we are going to worry. Okay. So whenever you are reading the IC, you have to read like this. What and all input it's going to take from us and what it's going to give as a desired output to us, so that you can select your ICs accordingly. So this is the output, data output. And this data output only I'm going to feed in my transmitter. This I'm going to call as RF transmitter module. So I'm going to feed the data, whatever I got from the encoder only, I'm going to feed here to this RF module. And that's going to produce me this modulated oscillations. So I'm like halfway, we have completed. So this is my switch. You can call this as, okay, this is about open. So where we will connect this. This is grounded. And this should be connected to the voltage of this. This also should be grounded. Yeah, all are low active pins. All should be grounded. What I mean by low active pins, whenever there is a low input, that is negative ground, a negative inputs, it's gonna work. Okay, so everything is gonna work for negative inputs. So transmission enable is negative, so it's gonna switch on the circuit for you, switch on the IC for you, and all these address pins are grounded, and this voltage, positive voltage is given 9-volt, and this button is also grounded. Whenever I close this button, it's gonna give this negative low active pin. So when it's giving the negative input, it's gonna be active. So it's gonna send me the output here. So the first I'm gonna call this forward, reverse, left, right. Okay. So these are all the 4 functions here. So when I press this button here, push this button here, it's gonna give me one output here. So forward. So only one signal. So one data will be there, like continuously. Continuous pressing means continuous output will be there. So if I press and leave, so it will be like this. Okay. So forward, reverse, left, right. So these data only I'm gonna feed in my RF transmitter module. So for example, if I wanna press the forward button and I want to take the left turn, so both buttons I have to press. So 2 data will be there. So forward is 1 and the reverse will be 0 and the left is 1 and the right will be 0. So it's going to communicate through the output like this. Okay, data 1 0 1 0. So what I'm doing here is, with this encoder, all the parallel input has been converted as serial output. Okay. So all are parallel input, parallel function. Parallel I can do, I want to go forward, I want to take left, or I want to take right, but not forward reverse together. Either forward, either reverse, are either left or either right. But forward and steering will be combined, right? So I mean, forward or reverse direction with the steering will be combined. So forward, left or right. So all these parallel functions has been taken, has been encoded, given as a serial output here, as a single output. That output will be fed into my RF transmitter module. So that's going to give my modulated as oscillations. Right? Everybody is agreeing with this, guys?
So for each action, there's going to be a different radio wave.
No. Not different data. We are speaking about data here. This data has been produced from this output, and data will be fed into our module here, radio free transmitter module like this, and this will produce the oscillations here, like this. So in case if this continuous one is there, it will be like this together, then some zeros. So this information will be passed, and that information again, it will be the serial information again, it will be split into parallel information and will be given into your decoder there. Still we are not gone to that part, receiver and decoder. This electromagnetic transmission should be received by the receiver through electromagnetic effect, and that receiver will again decode this, and this serial information will be again converted to parallel information, and it will be given to your like control devices like motor or something, so that the action will happen. So
these receivers take these oscillations, then they are going to, like
we are going to see that part afterwards. Also, you are having some doubt, we'll discuss that, right?
Okay, sir.
Okay. So I guess up to this we are clear. Now I am getting my modulated oscillations, but I am interested only in the envelope, right? That is only my need. My need is whatever is hiding here in this oscillations, in these electromagnetic waves, that only the envelope, there only my information is hiding, the data. So that I want to take it from this. So further I want to, so what I'm going to do, it's my purpose is towards that only. I want to extract that data. So what I'll do, as with the antenna, LC circuit is grounded. So it's going to receive these oscillations here. It's going to oscillate in same frequency and same whatever this gap is there. Same way it is going to oscillate. And that I'm going to feed it to the capacitor, so that it will allow only the oscillation or allow the DC. Okay, some DC noises will come. So that will be filtered. Only oscillations will be allowed. That is the purpose of this capacitor. When DC is applied, it won't go through, like open circuit for DC. So only oscillations will be allowed. Only ACs will be allowed in oscillations. So that is the purpose of this capacitor, act as a filter. Then I'm gonna feed these oscillations where I'm gonna amplify this. Next purpose, because it will be low. In case of large distance communication, whatever I receive will be somewhat weak signal. That should be amplified. So amplification as usual, definitely you have to use a, what we're gonna use? Transistor, grounded, then some resistor and some voltage. I will keep some 5 volt. So whenever there is, so here it is gonna conduct. Whenever there is a positive pulse, it's gonna conduct, right? And take this output, because NPN circuit. So here oscillation is coming. Same oscillation has been passed here, but since the NPN transistor, wherever a positive pulse is there, that time only it's gonna conduct. Okay, so it's not gonna conduct whenever there is a downward, like negative oscillations. So only it's gonna communicate only positive oscillation. Obviously, we are interested in that only. We are interested only in the envelope, which is enclosing this oscillation. We are not interested in the whole oscillation thing. Okay, so this transistor is going to act as an amplifier, also as a rectifier. So the input is this. If we measure the output here, the output will be like this. So only the off, positive off. So it's gonna cut here. So only the positive off has been received here from this transistor. And I wanna see there isn't the undulations here. I don't want these frequencies. I want just only the envelope. So I'm gonna send this signal into my low pass filter. That is the resistor, the capacitor, and is grounded. Why it is a low pass filter? So whenever there is a positive, it's gonna charge. Whenever it's going down, when the pulse is going down, the capacitor is gonna discharge. So what will happen? So if you measure here, so it will be like this. So it's gonna go down, but at that time the capacitor starts to discharge. Capacitor starts to discharge. Okay. So I just this portion I elaborated here. What's gonna happen here? So whenever there is when it reaches the peak, the capacitor is gonna charge. When it is going down from the peak, the capacitor is gonna discharge. So that the output will be like somewhat like this. Are you guys with me? Guys? This is low pass filter. Hello, guys? Anyone?
Yes, it makes sense.
Yeah, because can you make it out now what I'm doing here? From the oscillations, I'm just fed into my transistor to amplify, and also the transistor act as a rectifier. Obviously, I least bother because I bother about only the envelope. There only my data is hiding. So still I want to make the envelope proper, perfect. So I'm sending through the RC, that is low pass filter. So what capacitor will do? Capacitor, whenever there is a positive voltage, is going to store. Whenever there is no voltage, it's going to give a discharge. So it's going to balance it. Okay. So it's going to avoid this down pulse. So I'm getting somewhat wavy form like this. So to make it very clear. So what I'm going to get from this output of this low pass filter will be like this. Okay. Somewhat like this, similar to this. So still it is not clear what I want to do. Even still I want to further amplify the signal. So I'm going to send this input, this signal into my op-amp. Op-amp will act as an amplifier. Very good amplifier is op-amp. So this signal will be given to my op-amp. Because the op-amp got huge gain. So there will be a feedback resistor, and here on resistor. Based on this ratio, RF by R1, you're gonna get a huge gain, +1. So they'll choose this feedback resistance huge and R1 will be low. So you'll get a huge gain from this. So based on this design of this op-amp, I'm gonna amplify this signal. So it'll be further amplified. But I cannot avoid these undulations. Wait for them. So I'm going to take this output of this amplifier, that is operational amplifier. I'm going to give it to the comparator. This plus, this is minus. The comparator will work with this ground. This is a reference voltage. And this is fed here to the comparator. And what the comparator does, whenever there is a voltage is above this reference voltage, it's gonna give the supply voltage of the op-amp. So I'll ensure my supply voltage of the op-amp is 5 volt. So whenever there is the voltage is greater than the reference is ground. So all these are above my 0. So it's gonna give me output like this, 5 volt. And it's 0, both are 0, it's gonna give me 0. And everything is above 0, it's going to give me 5 volt. So I successfully taken my data out. Hello? It's clear. Here I just given the introduction of op-amp. You no need to go, if you want, you can read further. But what is the purpose of op-amp is, it's gonna amplify your signal. Whatever signal you are giving based on the selection of the resistors, it's gonna have a huge gain. It's gonna give you amplification. And also op-amp will act as a comparator also. So this comparator is very beautiful property. It will take the reference voltage. Whenever the input voltage is higher than the reference voltage, it's gonna give the supply voltage of the op-amp. Whenever the input voltage is less than the reference voltage, it's gonna give the negative voltage of the op-amp. So like that it will happen. Okay. So here the supply is 5 volt and the ground is 0. So it's gonna give me like this based on this frequency. Is that clear? Hello? Guys? We're almost here. 75% working over. Yes. So this part, this dual op-amp is shown here. No, these op-amps are connected together. This is called dual op-amp that will be purchased using this spec LM358. So with LM358, you're gonna get this as a simple integrated circuit, dual op-amp. So that's gonna do, it's gonna do a better work for us. So that's it. Our this is the radio frequency receiving module, and we got the data. But still, what we gonna do with the data now? I transmitted the data as an oscillation, and I received the oscillation. I split the data. Now, what are you gonna do with the data? Anybody? Hello, just I'm checking whether you are following me or not. What are we gonna do with the data? What we got from the transmitter? What data we got from the transmitter? Forward, there is no reverse, and left, there is no right. That is the data we got, right? Guys? Hello? Anyone? Are you guys are following or what? Hello?
Yes, sir. That's what we get. Forward and left.
Okay. Just I want to ensure that someone should respond, right? So that I can move on. That's fine. We got this data and we are going to feed this data to the decoder. So decoder will gonna take this serial input and it's going to give us the parallel output. And this parallel output, we can get the parallel function like going forward and taking left. So with this, the decoder. So this is comes from 12D. 12E is encoder, 12D is decoder. And whatever scheme I used for address pins, same scheme you have to follow here. There everywhere I grounded. So here also you have to ground all these address pins so that it will communicate with each other, like work as a pair. So here voltage is 5 volt. And this should be grounded. And this is the oscillator. And input, whatever we got from this one, this radio frequency receiving module. So this total, the fancy name for all this circuit is called radio frequency receiving module, is giving us the data. That data will be fed here. And we are going to take the output from here. So indicate this, I can use an LED here. It's not a diode, it's an LED. So this first one will glow. The second also will glow. This, third also glow. Second and third will be off. So I got the signal. Whatever I transferred from there, like 2 button I pressed, these 2 LEDs will be continuously on. So according to this numbering, the output will work. So here AD3 is on, AD1 is on. Same way AD3 will give the output, AD1 also will give the output. Okay. So instead of LED, you can take this signal and give it to the motor. Like with the switching device, we can reverse, make the motor to go forward. And this, like switching device, you know how it will work. With the switching device, we can reverse the, by taking the signal, whatever voltage is coming, you can switch it by using so many switching mechanisms there. Using transistor also you can switch, using relay also you can switch. With that switch, we can allow the power supply to go to the motor and the motor will run. Okay, so like that we can make our desired action in the output. So for sake of simply, I use the LED to show how it works. Okay, guys. So now, any doubt here, guys? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Or anything you want to ask apart from this? Okay, so this is called radio frequency transmitter module. Whatever I have drawn there, inductor, and here this crystal is there, piezoelectric crystal, and inside piezoelectric crystal along with that capacitors and transistors, everything will be there. This is totally called crystal resonator. Okay, you can buy, or crystal oscillator, we can buy separately. See how compact it is. These all are very cheap electronics. Okay, not even 200 rupees. Okay, not even 200 rupees. This cheap electronics. Radio frequency transmitter, this radio frequency receiver. 3 input. One is ground, one is supply, one is data. And here you can have the antenna. See, they are written A and T antenna. And this is a radio frequency transmitter. This is a module, radio frequency receiver. So here, this is the op-amp, dual op-amp I said, no, LM358. And here 4 connectors are there. One is positive, one is ground, and 2 datas are there. This will be short circuited for the data. And this data will be taken from here and be fed into your decoder. And here, we are giving the data from the encoder. From the encoder, we'll give the data. It will transmit through this antenna and we'll receive this wave. Here antenna is hiding here. Here antenna will be there. And you are receiving the oscillations here. And it will be decoded, not decoded, it will be like converted into this envelope data. And this data will be taken out from this 2 pin, short circuited pin. From this, we will give to the decoder. And decoder will do as the desired action forms. So that's it. And whatever I told here, the circuit is there. If you want, you can take a screenshot and you can connect and see everything. Whatever I shown, it will be as it is. If you want, you can take a screenshot of this. So this part is this. And this is the encoder. That's it. With this 2 component, we can make this. Our transmitter circuit will be, it's going to transmit 433 megahertz. That means up to 1 kilometer you can operate. So this 200 rupees worth of radio frequency transmitter and this encoder, we can make a garage door opening, closing, and what else? So many applications are there with wireless communications, like door opening, closing, okay, garage door, then what else? Anything? Anything else can you do with these wireless devices? Any applications you are interested? Guys? You can try it.
Also the car key switches.
What switches?
Car keys.
Oh, car key switches. What is that?
So no, sir, the car keys,
Car
the
keys for that.
open and close.
Oh.
They're also made up of this transmitter
But
circuit, right?
those things will be, I think it is IR or like a remote, no, like that I'm guessing. Maybe IR, okay, infrared rays, not radio waves. I guess so. You have to check in internet. What is the waves, I mean, used in our car key? Your TV remote and all IR waves, right? It's not radio waves.
Sir, because I have heard that when like you can also capture the radio waves of the car's key, and also you can control it if you capture.
No, it is you know for sure that is radio waves only, right?
Sir, I'm not sure, but then I've heard that you can also capture the radio
But
waves of a
I'm
car key.
doubt that the
It
radio
uses
waves
RFID, sir.
RF only.
Yeah, radio frequency identification.
Okay. Yeah, because of longer distance, right? Okay,
Yes.
fine. So this is our input radio remote transmitter circuit. These are push buttons. So by giving the inputs here, desired inputs, we will get the desired output. Some longer distance wireless communication happens. So this is the remote receiver circuit. So this portion is this, and decoder is here. And what is this? Anyone? What is this? 7805. What is this 7? If you know this name, you should tell immediately 7805. And also by seeing this configuration, you should tell immediately what is this. See, the 9 volt is here, and they're giving input here, and they're taking the output here. It's grounded. And again, capacitor is here for obviously filter purpose only. What they are doing here?
Inductor.
No, it's a voltage regulator. 9 volt, they are converting into 5 volt. 7805 is a voltage regulator. The huge heat sink will be there on this IC. So you can see some aluminum sink, huge heat sink. It will waste the energy. Like 9 volt is converted to 5 volt. Now balance 4 will be wasted as heat energy here. So only heat sink will be there. And this 5 volt will be given to this capacitor so that it will be smoothed out. So they want to give proper 5 volt to this circuit receiver. Receiver should be proper. So only you want to use this voltage regulator. Like perfect 5 volt we have to give for the receiver to avoid these interference, other noises and all. Okay. So you can take a screenshot and you can try to do it at home, hobby projects. Very cheap it is. And while doing, you comes to know. First, you should buy the solderer, or you no need to buy the solderer. You can use with the printer. I mean, a breadboard also. Breadboards are available, so there is no nasty business of soldering or a PCB printed circuit boards. You can use the breadboards and the wires and these components. You can do the hobby projects. Okay, guys. Any question? See. 2 motors are here. One motor is for forward, backward. One motor is for steering, left, right. Thank you, guys. Any question? That's it. Apart from this, anything you can ask related to electronics or anything you want to do. Because I started doing when I was in my engineering college as a hobby project, even though I'm a mechanical student. I started making this, using this voice IC. I first produced some voice in the speaker. See, when you're trying to do, you want to go and buy the things from the market. Nowadays, online things are there, but that time I have to go and buy from market. So those people belittle me, the shopkeeper, because I gonna ask something like some spec. No, he's gonna belittle me, he's gonna mock me. He'll be like, what are you doing? Why you come here? Like that he'll be asking. But slowly I learned what spec I want to ask from the shopkeeper to get the required components. So it will be fun if you try doing these electronic projects. And there is one journal is there electronics for you. You can subscribe to the electronics for you journal. That's going to help you like superbly. Latest projects and they'll be giving. They are also giving some circuits, but some changes they will do there. So you have to decode that, debug that. Otherwise, the circuit won't work. So those things you can subscribe. So it will help you to develop this further because the growing field, right? Electronics nowadays, quantum computation has come. So qubits have come. Digital era is going to be over. You're going to enter into quantum era. So, but still, you can. This is the base, like step for the next level. Okay, guys. Thank you.